What's up, everyone? Hope everybody's having a good time and everybody's got their Safiyyahs. I was going to go over a little video just talking about how to build her, possibly what she's good at, what she might not be good at, and just giving you a good idea of how to build her, at least how I think you could build her and what I see as a benefit of her. So with Safiyyah, you have a class that's considered tier 0. A character is considered tier 0, and she is a seeker. She is from Iria, and yeah, she's got a lot of monster abilities. Let's look at her trait first things first. Thorny Rose. At the start of the turn, Safiyyah locks onto one random enemy within 4 tiles of herself and inflicts Hangman's Mark for 1 turn. Attacking enemies with the Hangman's Mark deals additional physical damage equal to 16% of the target's HP, but no more than 150% of Safiyyah's physical attack. And Hangman's Mark, in case you didn't know, is this: being attacked by certain skills will cause the character to receive additional effects from the attack. And so that's a pretty nice ability. At the end of each turn, she's going to be able to do that. Now, if you look, that's 1 star. Each star level gets a little bit better. Star level 2, she gets some lifesteal added to that. It's really nice. On star level 3, she does it to 2 enemies, and it does 24% damage, and up to 175% of her physical attack. Star level 4, it lasts for 2 turns instead of 1 turn, and then everything else looks like it's still the same. But at number 5, it's 2 enemies within 6 tiles instead of 4, and then it's for 2 turns, equal to 32% of the target's HP, and generates 75% lifesteal for no more than 200% of Safiyyah's physical attack. So she's a must as far as 5 stars go, because it really is going to really increase her damage and what she can do. Everything she's doing is honestly going to be centered around that Hangman's Mark. That's where her damage is coming in at, because that's a lot of damage. That's just outright 32% of the target's HP. Boom. Period. Dot. No questions asked if they've got that debuff. So with that said, let's look at her abilities. Looking at the rank, let's go down here. Now, rank 1, she's getting Settlement of the Hangman or Shadow Assault. I'm not a big fan of Shadow Assault. I went with Settlement of the Hanged Man, passive. So it's a passive skill. After an attack, if the target is dying and has Hangman's Mark, deals additional piercing damage up to 30% of the target's HP. When damage is dealt, the mark will be removed. So that right there, along with her passive at rank 1, is 46% damage. But at max rank, that's 64% damage? Am I getting that right? Yeah. It's a lot of damage. So that's a lot. Rank 3, here we go. She gets Shadowless Blade or Tactical Adjustment. Now, for me, this is one you want to spend a Castalia on. Shadowless Blade, it's great. It's a support ability. She gains Shadowless Blade. Let's click on that. Dodges 1 direct single attack and reacts with a strike back, dealing 85% of physical AoE damage of their 85% of their physical AoE damage. Inflicts vulnerable 2 for 2 turns. Sorry, I'm getting tongue-tied. And restores 2 energy to self. Vulnerable 2 increases damage taken. That's fantastic. Not only is it smacking it back and it's a redirect, she's got that dodge. But upon successful dodge, she deals the damage by a 3x4 radius. So 3 tiles, 4 tiles out. It's great. In the target direction, it inflicts vulnerable 2 for 2 turns and energy back. It's fantastic. And I've used this, and she'll keep it up. So even though she gets targeted by attack, she'll get hit again and still have it up, and again and still have it. It lasts multiple turns. It's not just a 1-turn deal and it's done. Just 1 attack. So just bear that in mind. It gives her some tanking prowess and ability. Now it's got 1 energy cost and a 3-turn recast. But man, I've been able to use it. I'm pretty sure back to back. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. There might be something else going on I'm missing, but I've been able to do that. However, Tactical Adjustment, great skill too. Support, and it's instant. Safiyyah selects any target and changes her role to match that target, also granting her Disguise. This effect lasts until the start of her next turn. So, Disguise buff decreases damage taken by 30% and increases the distance the character can move by 2. It's pretty handy. It's a little niche, but really powerful. Something that's unique to her as well, from what I can recall. I don't think anyone else has that. Now at rank 5, you can get Vital Guard. I'm not really a big fan. If you want it, there's nothing wrong with it. I think the ability you want to take is Blade Chase. It's a reaction. Perform assisting attack against enemies with the Hangman's Mark within 3 tiles of the character, dealing 50% physical damage. The skill can be activated up to 1 time per round. It's an extra little bit of damage, and it goes great with her summon ability, especially if you've got her out there with other people from Iria that can cause that Hangman's Mark to be afflicted. You're going to synergize because the extra damage, it's just going to pop off. Why not? It's the way to go, in my opinion, as far as her reaction skill. Rank 7, we get 2 choices again. Now, I'm going to get this ability. I haven't yet, but this aura is fantastic. So all other allies within 5 tiles, it's a regular leadership aura, gain 50% bonus attack when attacking enemies with the Hangman Mark. It's great. So there's no reason not to get it. It's fantastic, especially if you're building a team around Hangman Mark and synergizing from, being from Iria. Throwing it out there, that's a good one to pick up with the Convallaria. However, I think this is the go-to option for me. Anti-espionage order support. Safiyyah summons 1 HM agent, and so this guy's pretty tough, does good damage, and he's just another body on the field to soak up damage too. He also comes with an ability that allows him to swap places with any ally within a huge range. So that's fantastic. I don't think it's stated here, I'm sitting here reading it, yeah, that he can do that, but that's what he can do. And so there's a lot of utility in that alone. So beyond that, inheriting 85% of her attributes, so that's where he gets his strength, blah, inflicts the Hangman's Mark, and gives physical defense 2 and magic defense 2 on the target for 2 turns. It's fantastic. So you're debuffing the target. It summons the agent adjacent to the target, either on his side or behind him, depending on what's optimal. You don't get to change where it summons, from what I can tell. It's just it prompts it for you. And then immediately after this ability is done and used, it's going to be the target's turn, or the summon's turn, usually. And he's going to act, and if you choose to attack the target, she's going to jump in with her assist and aid, because this Hangman's Mark. It's fantastic. Everything about it's great. So that's the ability I'd go for at rank 7. Now rank 9. I see a lot of people go with team attack. I don't think there's anything wrong with this. I think it's pretty strong. It gives a speed buff of 3, an attack buff of 1 to the closest target, the closest ally for 1 turn. I think that's pretty great. However, I prefer ceiling attack. Deals 100% physical damage and inflicts no passive skills on injured targets before attacking, lasting for 2 turns. And so that no passive skill is a big deal to me. I think passive skills can be a nuisance. That's just what I prefer to go after and get. Now, here at rank 11, I picked up this Army Bane Blade. I think it's a good hard-hitting ability. There's nothing wrong with it. It inflicts Isolate for 1 turn, and after damaging it, inflicts no assist on the target for 2 turns. That 100% damage, 70% damage is what I was after. And so it will have its times when I want to use it. Probably like boss fights. However, against regular mobs and enemies, maybe in like, tower and whatnot, I'm looking at Weapon Eroder. This is piercing damage. Single target attack deals piercing damage equal to 30% of the target's HP, and then afflicts attack down 2 for 2 turns. So if you caught on, you understand what's happening here. This ability will do 30% of the target's HP and damage, tied with this passive that will also do 30% of the target's HP in 1 attack. That's 60%. Now let's back out and we look at the rows. 16% at level 1. So that is a total of 76%, but at max level that becomes 92%. That's busted. There's a lot of utility there. She can do a lot of damage. She just basically melts people based on their HP. And so it's hitting. No two ways about it. That's going to bring us on to our next portion here. We're going to talk about these items. What do we put on her? Now, I want to point out the trinket first. Let's go right at it. This trinket, I was lucky to get one, and I only have one. This sucker right here, the Flying Blade Arm Guard, is perfect for her. It's an instant ability. It deals piercing damage equal to 12% of the target's HP and can be used up to 2 times per battle. So if someone's got the Hangman's Mark, you use this on them, or you use it, period, it's going to shred. It's going to melt. How phenomenal is that? You're talking about literally the 30 plus the 30, 60, plus the potentially the other 32, making it 92, plus the 12, making it 104% HP damage. It's pretty bonkers. So this is her her best trinket, in my opinion. Now, you can put other things on her. There's nothing wrong with that, you know. I think another solid choice, a few good solid choices are out there, you know. True Lens might be good. Just general attack up buff. There's nothing wrong with that. And then crits increase by 12%. It's pretty solid. Maybe you want to, give her the Maverick's Cloak when there are no allies around 4 tiles, which kind of doesn't work with her, but regardless, you can want to try it. There's nothing wrong with that. I think that her first choice is the Arm Guard, and I'd say her second choice is probably going to be something like, Origin Hourglass, in my opinion. That's just me. I don't think anything else really fits. Everything else can do a good job, but I think that's her best in-slot trinket. Let's talk about weapons next. Now, for her weapons, there's quite a few options you have. I've seen a lot of people getting into different things. I see a lot of people like to go for Ever-Burning Blade on her. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You got good damage. You're adding Scorch on the enemy, and then you do more damage to enemies who are scorched. That's fantastic. I personally think that Newborn Blade is the way to go. I like increasing her HP. I like getting bonus damage based on her HP. She's, in my opinion, a little bit tanky because her ability to blink tank. I don't know if anybody else plays Final Fantasy XI or anything like that in the past, but you to be able to take those hits and stay on the front line and coordinate with allies is kind of her niche. She's got to get in there and get dirty. And so I think her having that HP and then benefiting off that HP and becoming more resilient, it all ties in and makes sense to me. And so you want your people in there putting the Hangman Mark down and her getting in close and utilizing that and doing damage with them. And so this for me is the best way to go. Now as far as her engravings, I personally went with the cup and then the sword to make the resonance that gives her extra 5% damage and then 50% life skill. I don't think that's the best choice, if I'm being honest with you. I looked at a couple of them, and originally I had put, which one did I put on right here? Let's take a look at it. Right here, I did the sword and the pentacle. Went unharmed, increased attack and defense by 12%. I think that one's pretty solid too. I don't think there's anything wrong with the lifesteal and the 5% damage. I'm very pleased with it. But I think the sword and the pinnacle is a strong choice too. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And then of course, the wand and the one. I think there's something there. After using a base attack, skill, strike back, or assisting attack, gain 1 random level 2 buff. Which makes sense. You can get some really good stuff off of that. And it makes her more resilient. It allows her to do what she's got to do better. And I think it slightly synergizes with her, right here, her Terror Whisper. Now, I don't have the best Terror Whisper on her right now. I'm going to switch that out. I want one with physical attack and HP to synergize with the build that I have on her. However, and I also want one with the double the skill at the end here. Let's see, like this. Some of these Terror Whispers have this on their 4th level, or at level 50, where you can unlock an extra buff. When she gets these buffs, one of the buffs that you get from this is AoE damage. Well, if you're surrounded by enemies, and let's say 3 of them have Hangman's Mark, when she pops that AoE damage, and they all take that damage, all of that HP true damage, let's just call it true damage, piercing damage is going to pop right there from her passive and hit all of them. She's going to shred. So if you're on a team with giving multiple Hangman marks out to different people, this is going to really pop off and do good. I think it does good regardless, even if it's just one target at a time, because it's just extra damage that you get to get in for free. And then you get other buffs and whatnot too. But there's a potential for the AoE damage is there, and it's kind of get nutty down the line. So that's my opinion on those things. Hopefully you can look at it and figure out what you like best. But this is my opinion of how I would build her and what I see from her and what I think is great about her. I will spend a little bit extra time here. I'm going to talk about synergies. I haven't tested a daggum thing. I just got her. I'm pretty excited about using her. But I will talk about some synergies. Nergal. This guy, I pulled him on accident. I pulled him for, if you didn't see the video, go check it out. I was not thrilled about him at first when I got him. However, now that I've looked over his abilities and given him a chance, I actually think I'm pretty excited about this right here. Mark of Illumination. It's an instant debuff. Nergal inflicts marked Hangman's Mark and attack down 2, invulnerable 2 on all enemies within a straight line for 5 tiles in the target direction. This effect lasts 2 turns. So he has an AoE Hangman Mark. That is huge for Safiyyah. That will do a lot of good for her. He's a tank. He doesn't, from what I can tell, auto cover. That's a big deal too, because you want her to take those shots because she's in a blink tank. She's not going to actually soak damage. She's gonna retaliate and give damage back. And so there's some good synergy here with him alone. A couple other good shout outs are, like Stinger. That's an obvious. His passive at the end of the turn, he locks on the closest enemy within 3 tiles, and he inflicts Hangman's Mark. That's a no-brainer. You want that with that synergy with Safiyyah and everything else. And let's take a look at Candlelight. Candlelight has a lot of potential. Before attacking the front or side, it inflicts Hangman Mark on the attacker for 2 turns. That's great. So if she takes damage, she's inflicting that mark. However, want to notice, it's a healing ability, but it inflicts Hangman Mark and speed down 2 on the target for 2 turns. It heals all allies within 4 tiles of the target for 65% magic attack and gains a movement up 1 buff for 1 turn. That's massive. The synergy she has with Safiyyah is fantastic. Just those 3 alone is pretty stupendous together. These 3 with Safiyyah makes a 4-man team. You want a 5th? You throw in Enforcer. Enforcer does exactly the same thing. Increases movement by 1 tile. At the end of the turn, locks on the closest enemy within 5 tile radius and inflicts Hangman's Mark. It's stupendous. So you have a team right there that's all revolved around Hangman's Mark, and most of those are pretty easy units to get, with the exception of Nergal, that work really well with Safiyyah, just in theory. Haven't tested, obviously, but yeah. That's my extra little input on that. Take it or leave it. Do what you want with it. This unit is stupendous. I've been playing her for a little while. Like I said, I just got her, so I've only taken her in a little bit, but I have been nothing but pleased with her. The numbers she's dropping, I've only really seen from Roia, and that's it. Like, honestly, she just hits. She hits hard. She hits like a truck. She's got survivability. She does a little bit of AoE, and she summons. And the summon aspect is so big because that's such a big, strong mechanic. That's another unit to soak damage, to trade swap, and trades places because it's extra maneuverability. With the units, everything. It can be get out of jail free card. It's just great. But yeah, I digress. I hope that my input has been of value to you, and I'm not just yammering and sputtering for no reason. If you enjoyed this video, please drop me a like and a comment. Tell me what you think. Tell me how Safiyyah is going for you. Tell me if you think I'm crazy. I don't care. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I hope you are having a good time in Sword of Convallaria. See you later.